I stand in the doorway of Raphael's house, my hijab fluttering gently in the faint breeze that drifts along the suburban Virginia street, as delicate as a whisper from the fields beyond. The afternoon sun dips low, painting the sky in hues of amber and gold, as if the heavens are weaving a tapestry of warmth just for me. In my arms, I clutch a bag of books, feeling their weight and the gravity of my purpose: to guide Owen, Raphael's 8-year-old son, through his lessons. The house, with its white clapboard walls and rose bushes lining the porch, feels like a quiet harbor, a refuge from the storm of my daily life. But today, there's a tremor beneath my calm, like a river stirring beneath a frozen surface. Javier, my husband, left this morning for a conference. His words echo in my ears. "Be safe, Rania. I'll be back by Friday." He's a teacher, steady as the roots of an oak, and his absence leaves me adrift, a leaf carried by the wind. I've been Owen's tutor for 6 months, visiting this home twice a week. My days are shaped by the gentle rhythm of teaching, guiding numbers and letters to unfold like petals under my care. Raphael, Owen's father, is usually a shadow in the background, a tall figure with a quiet smile. But today is different. The Guillaume air hums with an unspoken melody, charged with something I can't quite name. The door swings open, and Raphael greets me, his voice deep as distant thunder. "Rania, good to see you. Owen's upstairs. He's excited for today." His hazel eyes catch mine, steady as a lighthouse beam cutting through fog. I nod, offering a small smile beneath my hijab. "Thank you, Raphael. I'll head up." As I step inside, the scent of cedar and coffee wraps around me like a warm shawl. I feel his gaze linger, a soft breeze brushing the edges of my awareness. Owen bounds down the stairs, his laughter a melody that shatters the stillness. I follow him to the study, my heart steadying with the familiar task ahead. But as I pass Raphael in the hallway, our shoulders brush, his sleeve grazing my arm like a whisper against the wind. I pause, my breath catching like a bird trapped in a net. I glance back, and our eyes meet again, a silent wave crashing against the shore of my resolve. I turn away quickly, clutching my books, telling myself it's nothing, just a fleeting gust. Yet as I climb the stairs, the air feels heavier, like a storm brewing over the horizon, testing the boundaries I've always held sacred. The days after Javier's departure stretch before me like a desert kissed by a relentless sun, each hour shimmering with a quiet ache I dare not name. I sit at the wooden table in Raphael's study, my books fanned out like petals from a wilting rose. I guide Owen through his fractions. His pencil scratches the page like a sparrow hopping across sand, his chatter a bubbling brook, breaking the stillness of this Virginia home. Yet beneath his voice, a deeper current stirs, like a river swelling beneath ice, tugging me toward thoughts I shouldn't harbor, thoughts that clash with the steady rhythm of my faith. Javier's absence drapes over me like a shadow woven from dusk, a familiar weight I've borne through years of marriage. He's firm as an oak's roots, his faith my guiding star, but his trips, like this one to Richmond, leave me adrift, a leaf tossed by the wind across an endless plain. I've been Owen's tutor for 6 months. My hijab is a shield of serenity as I step into Raphael's house twice weekly. Teaching is my anchor, numbers and words blooming like dawn over dunes. But lately, Raphael's presence ripples through that peace, a stone shattering the stillness of a pond. It begins with glances, fleeting as whispers on the breeze. One afternoon, as I explain multiplication, Raphael lingers in the doorway, his frame tall and steady like a lighthouse against a stormy tide. "You're patient with him," he says, his voice rolling like thunder over distant hills. I look up, our eyes locking, his hazel gaze piercing like a lantern through fog. mine caught like a deer in its beam. My heart quickens, a drumbeat racing beneath my ribs. Warmth creeps beneath my hijab, like sunlight spilling through a crack in stone. "It's my job," I reply, barely above a whisper, my voice trembling with something I can't define. I reply, my voice a thread of silk trembling in the wind. And I turn back to Owen, though my pulse thuds like a storm approaching. The next visit, I'm gathering my books when Raphael steps in, offering a cup of tea. "Thought you might need this," he says, his fingers brushing mine as I take it, a touch as soft as a feather drifting over sand, yet electric as a spark on dry grass. His skin is warm, rough like weathered bark, and my breath hitches, sharp and shallow, like a bird's gasp in a net. Our eyes meet again, a silent wave crashing against my resolve. I murmur a thank you, my voice quivering like a leaf in a gale. He nods, stepping back, but the air hums, charged like the moment before lightning strikes. The tension weaves through the house like threads in a tapestry. I recall a day, weeks past, Javier away, me seated here with Owen, Raphael bringing cookies, his smile soft like dawn over plains, his hand grazing mine as he set them down. That touch echoes now, a drumbeat in my chest. Another time, as I adjust Owen's worksheet, Raphael leans close, his breath brushing my cheek, deep and warm, like a breeze stirring desert sands. My heart leaps, a frantic bird against its cage, and our eyes collide, his steady as a mountain peak, mine wide as a doe under moonlight. "You're good at this," he says, and I nod, turning away, though his breath lingers, a flame I can't snuff out. One evening I stay late, the house hushed save for the fireplace's crackle below. Owen dashes to bed, and I pack my bag, silence wrapping me like a shawl. Raphael appears at the door, his shadow stretching like a tree over a field. "You're a blessing to him," he says, stepping closer, his voice a river cutting through the stillness. Our eyes lock, a clash of light and shadow, and he moves nearer, his hand brushing my arm as he reaches for a forgotten pencil. The touch ignites a spark on tinder, and his breath grazes my ear, slow and deep, like wind over dunes. My heart races, a stallion unbound, and I feel the air thicken, a storm brewing in the quiet. Then it happens. He pauses, inches away, our gazes tangled like vines in a tempest. "Rania," he whispers, his voice a low tide pulling me in. Before I can retreat, he leans forward, his lips brushing mine, a kiss fleeting as a bird's wing against the sky, soft as petals falling on water. My breath catches, a gasp lost in the wind, my heart pounding like thunder in my chest. His breath mingles with mine, warm and unsteady, like a flame flickering in a draft. I pull back, eyes wide, a deer startled by its own shadow. "I'm sorry," he stammers, stepping away, his gaze dimming like a lantern in fog. I nod, fleeing to my car, the taste of that moment lingering like ash on my tongue. As I drive home, the house fades behind me, a beacon in the night. But the storm within rages, a tempest of racing heartbeats, stolen breaths, and forbidden flames, testing the boundaries I've sworn to uphold. The echo of that fleeting kiss in the study clings to me like a forbidden hymn, its chords vibrating through the fragile strings of my soul, stoking a fire I've tried to smother beneath layers of faith. I step into Raphael's house the next day, crossing the threshold as if plunging into a sea where currents defy all charts. Owen waits in the living room, sprawled on the rug with his puzzle, his laughter a cascade of silver bells piercing the Virginia dusk, a fleeting shield against the storm brewing within me. I kneel beside him, my hijab a trembling banner caught. In a gale, but my heart roars, a lion unbound, its growl shaking the plains of my restraint. Javier's absence gnaws at me like a root ripped from soil, his voice from Richmond a fading whisper. I'll call you tonight. He's my rock, a pillar of faith carved from granite. Yet here I am, a vessel unmoored, swept into a whirlpool I didn't seek. Raphael has been a quiet harbor, his smile soft as dawn, his words a gentle tide. But since that night, he's a volcano trembling beneath the earth, its molten core threatening to erupt through every boundary. Certainly. Here's your emotionally rich narrative, rewritten with improved flow, grammar, and heightened emotional intensity, each paragraph clearly separated and ending with a marker. Dialogue is clearly distinguished, and the pacing is deliberate for maximum impact. I've sworn to uphold my boundaries, but that kiss was a spark, a flare in the dark. Though I fled, its blaze consumes me still, a wildfire racing across my plains, leaving no corner unscorched. Owen tugs my sleeve, his puzzle a scatter of stars and skies. "Help me find the moon," he chirps, and I force a smile, guiding his hands as if piecing together my own fractured will. The floor creaks, a low groan like the earth confessing its sins, and Raphael enters, a tray of lemonade in hand. His shadow drapes over me like a canopy of storm clouds. "Thought we could use a break," he says, his voice a velvet tide lapping at jagged cliffs, smooth yet relentless. I look up. Our eyes clash, a collision of thunderheads. His hazel depths are a tempest swirling with unspoken hunger. Mine, a flickering ember caught in its draft. My heart surges, a river bursting its banks, pounding like war drums across a battlefield. I grip the rug, my breath jagged as a reed snapping in a squall. He kneels beside us, the tray clinking as he sets it down, his knee grazing mine. A spark, sharp as flint striking steel, igniting a current that races through me like lightning over dunes. "You make this look effortless," he says, his tone of vine curling through my armor's cracks. I nod, my voice swallowed by the whirlwind. Owen giggles, piecing stars, but Raphael shifts closer. His hand reaches for a puzzle piece near mine, but his fingers don't merely brush, they seize, enveloping my hand in a grip warm as molten gold, rough as a mountain's crags, weathered by time. My breath shudders, a gust tearing through reeds and my pulse hammers, a blacksmith forging steel in my chest's furnace. "Let's build something new," he says, his voice a playful gust fanning hidden embers, and he pulls wooden blocks from a shelf. Owen claps, a fragile bridge between us. As we stack the blocks, the air thickens, a shroud woven from heat and shadow. Our hands collide again, his palm pressing mine, firm as a root anchoring earth. I feel his breath, deep as a bellows stoking a buried fire, close enough to lift my hijab's edge. My heart leaps, a hawk riding a tempest, and I tremble, a leaf drowning in a flood. Owen cheers, but Raphael's gaze locks with mine, a lightning strike searing the haze. His shoulder presses into mine, solid as a cliff against crashing waves. "We're unstoppable," he murmurs, his words a serpent slithering through my defenses. My chest tightens, a drum skin stretched beyond breaking. The tower rises, a fragile testament to our dance, but as we place the final block, his hand doesn't release. It claims, a chain forged in flame. He pulls me to my feet, the world shrinking to this inferno. Owen's voice fades, a distant chime lost in the storm. Raphael's arms encircle me, a tide sweeping me under. His hands slide to my waist, bold as vines conquering a crumbling wall. My body yields, a moth consumed by flame, every boundary dissolving like sand before a flood. Our breaths clash, a symphony of gasps and sighs, wild as winds waging over a battlefield. His chest presses against mine, a mountain meeting the sea. My jaw slips away like a veil torn by a hurricane. We tumble to the sofa, the tower crashing like a kingdom razed to ruin. The room spins, a vortex of heat and shadow. His lips find mine again. Not a whisper, but a deluge, a torrent drowning every dam I've built. The kiss is a wildfire, relentless and all-consuming. His mouth a furnace against mine, warm as sunlight, spilling over dunes, fierce as a lion's roar claiming its prey. My lips part, a flower ravaged by storm, and I taste the salt of his breath, a sea swallowing me whole. His hands roam, tracing my back like rivers carving canyons, each touch ablaze, searing through fabric, rough as sandstone, tender as dawn's. First light. My fingers dig into his shoulders, claws sinking into earth, and our bodies meld, a fusion of fire and flood. A tapestry of flesh and flame is woven in a single shattering breath. Time warps, a moment stretched into an endless plain, and I surrender, a river unbanked, a flame merging with its source. His breath scorches my neck, a dragon's exhale over parched fields, and my heart thunders, a comet blazing through a starless sky. Every inch of me ignites. His weight is a mountain pressing me into the earth, my curves a sea yielding to its shore. We are lost, a dance of embers and waves, a union that shatters every limit like glass beneath a hammer's blow. The world fades. Owen's laughter is a distant echo, and we are a single flame, wild, untamed, a conflagration consuming the plains of my faith, my vows, my very soul. But then a crack. The window rattles as a gust slams the shutters, a whip of reality slicing through the haze. I gasp, tearing free like a bird clawing from a snare, my breath a ragged sail flapping in the storm. Raphael stumbles back, his chest heaving like waves after a typhoon, his eyes wide, a lantern shattered by its own brilliance. Rania. He chokes, but I lurch to my feet, my heart a frantic drum, my body trembling like a leaf stripped bare. No, I rasp, my voice a cracked bell tolling through the chaos. I flee to the kitchen, gripping the counter as if it could anchor me to the earth. The fire burned beyond all bounds, a blaze that devoured every wall I'd built. Yet as my breath steadies, I see the ashes, what I've forsaken, what I must reclaim before the wind scatters me too far. The storm that consumed me on the sofa recedes like a tide retreating from a ravaged shore, leaving me stranded amidst the wreckage of my own making. I stand in Raphael's kitchen, hands gripping the counter as if it's the last plank of a sinking ship. My breath steadies like a wind weary of its own fury. The echo of his touch, wild as a flame across dry plains, lingers on my skin, a brand seared into the fabric of my being. But the rattling shutters still ring in my ears, a clarion call pulling me from the abyss. Owen's footsteps clatter upstairs, a lifeline threading through the haze. I force myself upright, my heart a bruised drum slowing its frantic beat. Raphael steps into the doorway, his silhouette a mountain shadowed by dusk, his chest still rising like waves after a tempest. "Rania," he says, his voice a cracked reed bending in the wind. "I didn't mean..." But I raise a hand, a wall against the tide, my gaze steady as a lighthouse piercing fog. "Don't," I whisper, my words a stone dropping into still waters, rippling with finality. His eyes, hazel and stormy, flicker, a lantern dimming in the night, and he nods, retreating like a river receding from floodlands. The space between us widens, a chasm carved by the storm we unleashed. I feel the ashes settle, embers of a fire I let burn too bright. I gather my bag, each movement a thread stitching my resolve, and step toward the door. Owen bounds down, clutching a toy plane, his grin a sunbeam breaking through clouds. "See you Tuesday, Rania?" he asks, and I nod, my smile a fragile bridge over the ruins within. Raphael watches from the hall, silent as a tree stripped by winter. I meet his gaze one last time, a fleeting spark snuffed by the wind, before turning away. The cool air outside greets me like a balm, washing over me as I climb into my car. The house shrinks in the rear view, like a fading ember on the horizon. Javier calls as I drive, his voice a steady root piercing the earth. I'm on my way home. I cling to it, a lifeline pulling me back to the plains I know, and whisper, "Good." The fire with Rafael burned beyond all bounds, a blaze that devoured every limit. But as I steer toward home, I vow to let it die, its ashes a lesson etched in the sands of my soul, guiding me back to the harbor of my faith and family. Now, as I stand beneath the Virginia sky, the stars above me glimmer like scattered seeds over a field reborn. I turn to you, my listeners, my witnesses, to share the lessons carved into my soul by a fire. Let me know if you'd like to continue, or if there's anything more you wish to add or refine. I let it burn too wild. I'm Rania, a tutor, a wife, a woman of faith, and for a moment I was a wanderer, lost in a storm of my own making. The plains of my life stretched quiet and steady, until Javier's absence left me a leaf adrift, and Rafael's house became a crucible where temptation flared like a torch in the dark. That night on his sofa, I crossed every boundary. A river, unbanked, a flame consuming all it touched. The ashes of that blaze still whisper truths I can't ignore. I see it now. Loneliness is a wind, subtle yet fierce, that sweeps through the dunes of our hearts when we least expect it. It carried me toward Rafael, his touch a spark that ignited a wildfire, his breath a tempest that drowned my resolve. We built a tower of blocks, a fragile dream, but it toppled as we did, our hands weaving a tapestry of forbidden heat, our breaths a symphony of forbidden winds, our closeness a dance that shattered every wall I'd raised. It was a union like the merging of sea and flame, a moment where faith and duty burned away, leaving only the raw pulse of desire. But as the shutters rattled, as reality cracked through that inferno, I saw the cost. A field scorched beyond recognition, a life I nearly lost. Embers here, ashes there. Here's what I've learned, etched in the sands of that night. We all carry plains within us, vast and vulnerable, where winds of longing can blow unchecked. Temptation is a flame, beautiful, fierce, a siren call, promising warmth. But it's a fire that devours if you let it rage. I could have stayed in that blaze, let it consume the roots Javier and I planted, the faith that's my compass. But I chose to step back, to douse it with the cold wind of truth. Boundaries aren't chains. They're the fences that guard our fields, keeping them green and whole. So when the wind howls through your plains, don't chase the flame that beckons. Let it teach you to see the roots you've sown, your family, your values, your soul. I nearly lost mine, but I turned back, and now I stand here under these stars, knowing the fire must fade for the field to bloom again. Let me know if you'd like to continue, or if you want any further refinements. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe. Your support means everything. Remember, life's strongest storms often teach us the most important lessons. Until next time, stay true to your roots, and may your fields always bloom again.